We begin tonight by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Woolastoq. These territories are covered by treaties of peace and friendship of the Woolastoq people, first signed with the British Crown in 1725. I now call our meeting to order. Attendance has been taken. Approval of the agenda.
Powell or Montel.
Second, Faulkner.
Any discussion? Ready for the question? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Are there any conflict of interest for disclosure this evening? No? Okay, I'd just like to take this opportunity to welcome Don Ferguson to our meeting. Don is the supervisor of Sudbury York South Rural Community, and he will be attending our meetings. So welcome, Don.
Thank you.
We'll move on now to the consent agenda. A, approval of the minutes, October 7th, 2025. B, Community Development Committee report. C, Public Safety Committee report. D, Economic Expansion Committee report.
On report side.
Second by,
Training.
any discussion? Ready for the question? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Move on now to number 7, the committee reports. The Finance Committee report, Director Corey, please.
Finance Committee met on, can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Finance Committee met on October 23rd, 2025. The meeting was called to order by the chair at 12:01. Ms. Langton provided an overview of the investment holdings and performance to September 30th, 2025, year to date. The year to date, the investments have grown 582,000 or 9.1%, which is well above the required return of 4.84%. Mr. Spares gave us his analysis of the markets, which performed extremely well in Q3. Interest rate cuts had a positive impact in September, and it is expected that more rate cuts will come. The Commission is invested in quality companies and durable industries, and the impact of AI on efficiency and profitability should cause the markets to react positively going forward. Ms. Langton presented the financial statement to the end of September. The balance sheet remains strong, and all service lines are generating healthy surpluses. Positive variances are being driven higher than budgeted government funding and by higher than budgeted government funding and less spending. Power generation is the only service line that is currently underperforming its budget, as it has experienced an outage that lasted over a month. The engines were operational in September, and a transformer has been ordered, which will not arrive until mid-2026. It is expected that surpluses for most divisions will decrease in Q4 as 2025 projects wrap up. Ms. Langton then reviewed the draft operating capital reserve fund policy. There have been slight revisions to the numbers proposed to the committee in May to base them on the 2026 budget. The changes can be seen in the revised policy included in this package. The new policy is vital to support stable and predictable fees in the future. The targets for the operating reserves are between 4, 5, and 15% of revenues, which represents 1 month's operating expenses. The question was posed as to whether regional service commissions are subject to operating reserve limits like municipalities are. It was determined that they are not. One director felt we should be consistent with limits imposed on municipalities for operating reserve funds. So just pardon me while I'm finding my place on my computer here. So, the capital reserve fund targets were determined based on comprehensive asset replacement analysis. Solid waste services very capital intensive, and the site is approximately 40 years old. Based on engineering estimates, significant capital investments and significant cell development costs will begin in early 2030s. Having funds set aside over the next 5 years in a capital reserve fund with a target of 9.6 million would prevent the need for massive tipping fee increases if it is not planned for appropriately. The electricity generation capital fund reserve was revised to 2.2 million, which would ensure engine block swaps will take place early in the 2030s. Would not have the engine block swaps, which will take place in the early 2030s, would not have to incur debt. The committee agreed to recommend the policy to the board for adoption. There being no further business, the meeting was adjourned at 12:49 p.m. I move the board receive the report of the Finance Committee dated November 4th, 2025.
Second by,
David, Leslie?
any discussion? Ready for the question? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
Second part of this, I would ask Mary Kay first to lead us through some review of the policy development, or is it more appropriate that we put the motion and then have that part of the discussion?
Madam Chair, I was
We'll do the review first, Dr. Corey, and then we'll go to the motion.
Okay, good. All right. Mary Kay, maybe you could walk us through the staff report.
Sure. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. So just by way of summary of where we're at in this process, you will recall back in June, we went through the proposed draft policy in detail. And we decided at that time to kind of table the policy and revisit it after budget season. So that's where we're at now. We're coming back to the same policy. We've revised the numbers slightly to incorporate the 2026 budget figures. But overall, they're just small changes, which you will see in the draft policy. We've done track changes, so everybody's aware of what those changes look like. Our current policy that we have was adopted in 2018, and it does not include our newer mandated services, which came online in 2023. It also doesn't reflect the rising costs that have happened over the last 5 years. And it doesn't reflect the upcoming future capital investment requirements, specifically that are needed at the landfill in the next 5 to 10 years. So having adequately funded reserves is critical to the financial stability of the commission and to promote those stable and predictable tipping fees that we're looking for. It also helps fund with the other services that the Capital Region Service Commission does as well. There's two types of reserve funds. There's operating reserves and there's capital reserves. Operating reserves can solely be used for operating reserves, and each of our different funds, and we have a number of different funds for each of the service lines that we offer. They can only be used for operating, and 5 to 15% of these revenues, which is what we've based an operating reserve on, is approximately 1 month's worth of expenses. So if something was to happen unexpectedly, or if funding was to be paused or stopped, we would have those monies set aside in a reserve fund that the board could choose to access at that time to keep operations going. So it's very important from an operating reserve fund. Capital reserve is specifically used for only capital purchases. Now, not all of our funds require capital reserves. There's only 3 of the funds that do, being solid waste, power generation, and local planning. Because of the nature of the other services, they're services rather than capital intensive. So for the capital reserves, for solid waste specifically, because that is the large one that we're looking at, a comprehensive capital needs and replacement schedule was done up until the end of the useful life of the landfill, which is approximately 2058. So we know that investments are going to be needed in the 2030s to replace some of our aging infrastructure. We also know at that time that our cell costs are going to increase substantially because of the mass excavation that's required for those cells. as I've talked about before, right now we are able to construct cells on top of existing cells. So our cell development costs currently are quite low compared to when we have to excavate and build new cells. So we have a window right now for the next 5 years where those cell costs are so low that we can start preparing for when those cell costs are going to be higher. And we know that's coming in the early 2030s. So funding this reserve now will mitigate tipping fee spikes then in the future. For local planning, capital needs consist mostly of computers or office equipment. So it's relatively small, but still important to have some funds set aside. And then for power generation, we've recommended an amount of 2.2 million. As we mentioned in the report, that allows for our block swaps to be funded through reserves rather than borrowing, which is how we've had to fund them in the past. And the goal is to have these reserve funds fully funded within the next 5 years. So in closing, I just want to say that it's really critically important for us to take steps now to prepare for the future so that it doesn't become a funding problem then. Asset replacement is based on estimates that we have now, and we know that they'll need to be revised as we get closer to that time period. And the targets will likely change as the new information becomes available. But we've got to plan and take action with the information that we do have now so that it doesn't become a crisis in the future.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Mary Kay? Yes,
There's a question in the finance report about whether the commission is under the same restrictions as municipalities when it comes to operating funds, and if I didn't get the feeling from the report that there was a definitive answer for this time. Have you looked into that since to get information?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We did look into that. There is no funding requirements for CRSC. There used to be. Yeah, it used to be for solid waste, but they eliminated that with the new Regional Service Delivery Act.
Outstanding. Thank you very much.
anyone else? No one on the screen? So no further questions, then I'll put it back to Director Corey for your motion, please.
Thank you. I move the board adopt the draft operating and capital reserve fund policy FN-01B as presented, and that policy FN-01A be repealed.
Have a seconder?
I'll second Bernie Forsyth.
Any discussion? Ready for the question? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Director Corey. Well, we'll move on to the staff report. Our CEO, John Smith, please.
Thanks. So thank you very much, Madam Chair, through you to the members. Just some updates, and I'll probably add a few to this as well of things that have been happening as of recent. So the Community Promotional Funding Program, as we talked about the 50,000 to the CRSC to promote the region. We've invited pursuant to the June 3rd board meeting at direction of the board. We've issued a call for proposals, and we've received a lot of interest. The process closes on November 14th, and we will continue. We'll keep you updated. Tomorrow morning, we have a call with interested parties that have expressed interest in learning more. So Amanda Foy and I, our economic development coordinator, will be leading that conversation, and we'll hopefully be able to shed some light on those communities that are interested. In the budget, on behalf of your professional team here at the CRSC, I want to thank all of the members personally for your support of the 2026 CRSC budget. I especially want to recognize the effort and time that Mary Kay and her team and our senior management team put into developing the budget each year. It's a long and lengthy process, and I just wanted to say thank you again to Mary Kay and her team and to the management team. Invasive species, as we talked about previously, as reported at the last meeting, the CRSC is working with the Department of Natural Resources to set a meeting to discuss this issue and continue that dialogue happening as it is an issue in the region. And we've been informed that last week that it would be in the new year for a meeting with the province to discuss on a more fulsome level. And we've confirmed the date as February 23rd, 2026 for that next meeting. So we're quite excited about that. And I've been speaking to the Assistant Deputy Minister and her team at the Department of Natural Resources and Energy, and it's really we've been quite excited about having them come in. And that net will be cast widely again in order so that people know that that's happening. We had a good turnout in the last one, and we expect we'll probably have a good turnout or even better on this meeting in February. The October meeting with the Minister of Public Safety, the Minister of Justice and Public Safety, Honor Robert Gauvin, was very impressed with the great turnout at the meeting and the fulsome discussion that occurred. It was one of the largest in the province, just so that you know, our turnout in Maryland was one of the largest in the province, if not the largest. There were still a couple to go, so I'm sure some of the others are trying to show us up. Anyway, just kidding. Ignite Summit and Diversity Gala. I want to say thank you to the directors that attended the event. It was a day of learning about AI and how it will impact our workplace and our personal lives and the world around us. It's ever changing. It was a lot of very interesting information shared and exchanged, and very eye-opening for some of us in terms of that. And the gala was well attended, and we had a great mix of directors, staff, and newcomer students. The food was great, the entertainment was energetic, and the interview panels were inspiring to say the least. And just so that you know that I pay attention at these things, the next day I took a drive out to Chipman Household Hazardous Waste Days in Grand Lake. Then I took a veer off down to Cambridge Narrows to try some baked goods of one of the pastry chefs that was at the event. And I have to say, it was very impressive, and it was nice, beautiful day. It was a great day out at the Household Hazardous Waste. It was the day as well in the drop off. The team were busy all day. It was just steady and consistent. But it was nice to see when you see folks, newcomers in a panel, and the baker was there, and she gave an overview of her journey to coming and landing here and ending up in Cambridge Narrows. And so I wanted to try it. I figured, well, I'm up in the area, I'm going to take a little drive around, see what's going on. And I have to say, it was very good. And while I was there, not to give a shout out to Ignite, but to give them a shout out, I had a lot of unsolicited feedback from the bakery that was featuring the baked goods, and an artisan that was sitting there that was displaying their goods in that particular shop. And so we went out, and I was just asking them, I said, oh, I was at the Ignite Gala, and I heard about this baker, Emmanuel, and I wanted to try her goods, and they were quite excited. And all of a sudden, the owner started talking to me about how much help that she had gotten from Ignite to set up her business. And the artisan that was sitting there making some of the crafts that were being on display for sale also told me the same thing about the coaching, the mentoring, the skills that they needed for ordering, to be able to estimate your orders and understand building the business as you go. It was unsolicited, but it was really impressive. So I contacted Sarah and the team and told them, doing a good job, keep it up. So anyway, I just wanted you to know that. The Govmaker Summit, November 24th to the 26th of 2025. I've been invited to be a panelist along with Ignite and Stiletto Consulting to discuss data-driven decisions, results, and projects. The panel will be held on November 26, 2025 at 11. If you happen to be there, come on in. I'll be bragging on the commission. And the title is Unlocking Growth Through Data-Driven Approaches. So I'll certainly be talking about our partnerships, our developments, and our growth over the last while, and how we make those decisions and the information that goes into them. The provincial RSC CEO and board chair meetings, it's a relationship building meeting amongst our peers around the province. It's going to be November 12th to the 14th at the Crown Plaza here in Fredericton. Planning is well underway for the event. The reception hosted by Ignite will be held on the evening of November 13th from 4 to 6 at the Crown Plaza. And I'd just like to, if you're available, we'd love to have you drop in, say hello. We're going to have counterparts from all around the province. If you want to talk to some of the CEOs and the chairs of the other RSCs, more than welcome to drop in. Light refreshments and some appetizers will be served. And so we give you a little snack on your way home, or maybe even over to the State of the City address right after that. It's on the same night. So you were at all of these great events that are upcoming. So if the board members, I know Kelly sent out an invitation, but if you happen to be around, if you think you're going to be able to, we'd really like to see you out. It just shows support for such meetings and for conferences. It's not a big crowd. There's only 13 others, and one of them has a trustee. So we're going to be we'll be 12 and plus us. So it's not a big crowd, but we'd love to have you if you're available. The meeting with the RSC review team. We'll have more information as we continue over the next few days and over the next week or two. So the meeting with the RSC review team has been set for December 4th for the Capital Region Service Commission. It's going to be through the day between 10 and 4 p.m. It's going to be held here at the RSC offices, and I hope they like festive decorations. We're having a challenge. And so anyway, the meeting will be in the day will run. They're going to come in and meet with me from 10 to 11:30 with the board over lunch. If you'd like to come in, we'll provide lunch as well. It'll be from 11:30 to 1:30. And then they're going to meet with your senior management team for the RSC from 1:30 to 1:30 to 3:30 or whenever we're finished. So if we take longer in the board meeting, not a problem. But we'll be meeting with all three. They want to talk about, as you saw in the email that I hope everyone understood why I was sending it out. A few of our members did not receive the email when it went out from the reviewers. So I just wanted to double check that everybody had it. And they're inviting people, they're inviting each community. If you want to make a local submission, make a local submission. But you're going to have the opportunity through the board as a collective as well to come together and meet with the review team. It's talking about the RSC process, the collaboration that happens, and how do we improve that moving forward. So it's an opportunity to raise questions, concerns, issues, and an opportunity to say something really nice about your team. There's also, we often talk about community and cooperative planning. And we undertook a review of the newly mandated services. So not the two core services of planning and development and solid waste division. We know that they're high functioning services. They got great leadership. They're high functioning. We're in good shape. We know that. We wanted to see how we were doing on an independent review of where are we at with the new services. So within the next 24 hours, you're going to have a review that was conducted by Jacques Dubé. He's the former CAO of the regional municipality of Halifax. He's also a former CAO in New Brunswick. He's also a former deputy minister in the government of New Brunswick, and he's also a former executive director of the predecessors to Ignite. So he's got a very broad range and background. I know many of you know him. He did a review for us. We've received the review. The management team is, we've had some interviews with him and provided information. He also interviewed Fredericton Capital Region Tourism and the staff at Ignite to ensure that they had a fulsome review of what was happening in the region. And so we're very excited to share that with you. It's not all roses. There's some really good news in there. And there's some areas to improve. So I want you to know it's a very balanced report. You'll have that tonight, and we'll be able to continue that dialogue as we move forward. Stiletto Consulting, we did our regional physician recruitment process map that we've shared with everyone. And so the next phase in that process that was approved here by the board through the committees was to undertake to look at a key stakeholders meeting for the region. We've secured Dr. Dornan as one of the members that will be there. We're also going to be able to have, we've also invited many of the other key stakeholders. We're waiting on responses from them, but we are quite excited about that. And that's going to be on November 28th. And the logistics are, it's going to be the morning of November 28th. That's Friday. It will be held here in the region, primarily probably in the Fredericton or Oromocto area. And we're just looking in the locations and venues. And this would be an opportunity to have those discussions around the table about how we're doing in the region, how do we advance in the region, and how do we work together in the region. And in all fairness, this came from the directors here at this table asking, what are we doing? How do we know? How does it work in terms of that? And we heard you, we're putting it together, and this will be that opportunity to come together on that. Just wanted to let you know that the Community Development Committee will be meeting on November 12th at noon. Information will be going out on this over the next 24 hours probably as well. And we're one of the presentations that we're going to have at that meeting is from Elections New Brunswick. This was something that was raised through the Community Development Committee about trying to increase participation, understanding the roles and responsibilities, and understanding the role of Elections NB in that. So it'll be that's going to be on the 12th at noon. And please invite others, your counselors, your CAOs, your staff, potential candidates that you know that you're speaking about. Please invite them to participate. We'd love to have a very fulsome group out there. Kelly will have all the logistics of it to you over the next day. I just wanted to give our colleagues and friends at the city of Fredericton. Don't forget, I mentioned it earlier, but the State of the City address is November 13th in the evening. You could go to the reception, meeting all the RSC CEOs and chairs, and then go right across the street over to the State of the City. So anyway, just a suggestion, but anyway, trying to help out. And one of the other things that we had heard through, and this is our continuous improvement and working together, on our colleagues and friends at Fredericton Capital Region Tourism. A little while back was brought to my attention that some felt that we needed higher visibility of all the committees or all the communities, sorry, around the region. When you open up the webpage, when you open up the news and notes and that type of thing that are sent out, and they do a great job in communicating with everyone. And I just want you to know on the main page now, when you look around the border, every community in the region is represented. So I just wanted you to make sure that we're listening, we're fulfilling, we're trying to make sure that when you mention things, whether they be on a sidebar after the meeting, whether they be at the meeting, or however that is, we're listening and trying to implement those for you. So we want you to know that, and we listen and we respond. And I want to thank our Dave and Stacy and the team at tourism. They do a great job and doing a wonderful job in promoting the region as much as possible, and always areas of improvement. That's why we call it continuous improvement. So we moved that up from the map right up to the top. So anyway, just wanted you to know we're all there together. Madam Chair, that's the end of my report. If anyone has any questions or concerns, yes.
Director Corey?
You're on mute.
Yeah, back on the dates for the RSC review, I didn't hear those.
Through you, Madam Chair, December 4th, Director Corey, the reviewers will be here on site. An agenda and everything will be sent for the day, the rollout of the day. I've talked to the reviewers just recently, and they're very excited to come to the Capital Region to meet with all of you. And when you're meeting collectively as a board, there will be no staff in the room with you. This is you having a one-on-one as a collective, as a board with the review team.
Does seem that in their note, maybe it's my misinterpretation of it, but in addition, we are planning regional meetings with the CAOs in coming weeks.
Yes, Director Corey, I saw that, and we'll be asking for clarity on that next week at the meetings of the RSC CEOs and chairs.
And I can tell you from our side, we will be developing a brief from the community and speaking about the community size issues and differences that will be the theme of our discussion.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions or comments? No? Okay, well, then I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Dave Moore.
Second by,
Glenn Ball.
meeting's adjourned. Thank you. 7:00